Today I am going to discuss about the medical surgical nursing 2 for the GNM second years. So in this we are going to discuss about the unit 9, that is nursing management of patient with the musculoskeletal disorders. So in the musculoskeletal system, till that we have seen about the abnormal conditions and the congenital deformities and degenerative conditions of the system. So today we are going to discuss about the orthopedic splint. So orthopedic splint. So the definition of the splint, it includes the by using splint and we can support the affected part or injury affected part of the body or injured part in the body. So by the splint and we can support the affected joint or the affected bone, and it can be supported to the joint, and by this using the splint we can immobilize the affected joint. So the definition, it includes the splint is a device used for the support or immobilization of a limb. So the splint, it is a device and it can be used for the support and immobilization of the limb. So the splint can be used to immobilization of the limb because of the injury and there is no mobility can be occur, and because of this, by using this splint we can immobilize the affected joint or the limb, and it can be used in the multiple situations. So the splint can be used in the multiple situations including the broken bone or damage of the joints. So the splints mostly used in the situations like the broken bones. So the bones become fractured and damaged joints and support for joint during the activity. So by using this splint and we can move the joints in a little activity can be done by the affected joint by using the splint. So the splint is most commonly used in the multiple situations like broken bones and the damaged joints and support for the joints. So during the activity. So it is about the splint. So the splint is helps to support the affected joint or immobilization of the affected joint or the limb. So it can be used mostly in the situations like the broken bone or the damaged joint or a little bit activity of the affected joint. So next one is purpose of the splint. So the purpose is mainly to hold still and protect an injured limb. So the purpose is to hold and protect an injured limb. So for the protection of affected limb and to hold the joint for the to hold the affected joint by using the splint, and are a wounded body part from further damage until to get medical help. So up to the medical treatment and we can use the splint, and by the splint we can support the affected joint, and it also helps to use for the immobilization of the affected joint. So next one is, it is important to check for the good circulation after the injured body part has been immobilized. So after the injury has occurred and if you are using the splint and there is no movement can be occur in the affected joint. So by this there is a circulation can be decreased in the affected joint. So by using this splint and we can know the circulation is good for the affected joint or not. By the splint we can know the circulation, we can check the good circulation after the injured body part has been immobilized. So it includes the purpose of the splint. So next one is uses of the splint. So uses, it includes the to temporarily immobilize a fractured limb before transportation. So after the injury it is very after the injury they are not after the injury temporarily immobilized fractured limb before transportation. So before transfer to the hospital and before the after the injury and before the transport to the hospital, and the splint can be used temporarily to immobilize the fractured or affected bone. So next one is by athletic trainers to immobilize an injured bone. So the splints can be mostly used by the athletics trainer. So they will get more chances to have the damage of the joints or the fractures can be occurs in the athletics. So the athletics can be mostly use the splint. So it is the uses of the splint. It includes the to temporarily immobilize a fractured bone before transportation. So before transfer to the hospital, till that time the temporarily the splint can be used by the patient, and athletics mostly they can use the splint and to support the immobilized to immobilize the affected joint or the or limb. Next one is types includes the soft splint and the hard splint and air or vacuum splint and the traction splint. So the soft splint it can be provided with the use of pillow or blankets. So the soft splint it is become very soft. It can be provided to support the affected joint or the affected limb. So by this we can regulate the mobility of the joint. So the soft splint it can be provided with the use of the pillows and blanket. So by using the pillows and the blankets we can support the affected limb, and the splint is secured around the area of injury and held in place with the tape. So the splint can be placed at the affected area of the body, and it can be held with the place it can be held in place with the tape. So after the splint has to be applied to the affected area and the splint is secured by the tape or the plaster. So the soft splint and it can be used in the in the hand or wrist injury. So the soft splint it can be mostly in the hand and wrist injury. So it is about the soft splints. So soft splints it means there is a provided it can be provided with the pillows and the blankets, and it can be secured around the affected area with the tape. And next one it can be mostly used in the hand fracture or the wrist fractures. Next one is hard splint. So the hard splint it is become very hard and it can be as simple as using a padded board. So the hard splint it is become like padded board. So it is become hard, and the splint made from the plaster or the fiber glass. So the hard splint can be made from the plaster or the fiber glass, and the splint specially used to treat the thumb injury or the forearm injury. So the hard splint is mostly used in the thumb fracture or the forearm injury, and the hard splint can be it is become padded board and it is become hard, and it can be mostly used in the thumb fracture and in the forearm fractures, and it can be made from the plaster or the fiber glass. So next one is air or vacuum splint. So air or vacuum splint are area type of splint available and used by some providers for treating orthopedic injuries. So it can be used very rarely in the orthopedic injuries. So if any fractures or any damages to the joints, and it can be used very rare. So in the air or vacuum splint it can be also it also stick to the skin and can cause the irritation. So the air or vacuum splint what will happen means in this vacuum splint and it is directly attached to the skin. So because of this it causes the irritation to the affected area. So air or vacuum splint area type of splints are a type of splint available and used by some providers for treating orthopedic injuries. So, in the some of the orthopedic injuries, the air and vacuum splints can be used, and it can be stick to the skin and it causes the irritation to the affected area. Next one is traction splint. So, the traction splint, it can be supports to the affected limb or the damaged joint. So, in this used for the traction splint, it can be mostly used in the femur injuries, and there is a mid shaft lower leg fractures. So, in the lower leg fracture and the femur fractures, the traction splint is mostly used. And next one is commonly used splints. So, what are the splints can be used very commonly means, first one is sugar tongue. So, sugar tongue splint, it is become C shape, U shape. So, the sugar tongue, it is become U shape and it is become long. So, because of this it is called as sugar tongue. So, it is mostly used in the forearm fractures. So, forearm fractures, the sugar tongue is mostly used to support the limb. And next one is ulnar gutter. So, ulnar gutter splint, it can be used in the any thumb fracture or the forearm fracture, wrist and the forearm fractures, and the ulnar gutter can be used. And the next one is volar wrist splint. So, the volar wrist splint is if the injury has occurred in the wrist, and the splint can be used. And the next one is thumb spica. So, if the injury has occurred in the thumb, and we can use the thumb spica. And the posterior lower leg splint. So, at the posterior side of the lower leg, and if the injury has occurred, the posterior lower leg splint can be used. And next one is posterior full leg. If the posteriorly the leg has fully damaged or the injury has occurred, and the posterior full leg splint has to be used. And the next one is posterior elbow. So, if the elbow has occurred injury has occurred in the elbow, and we can use the posterior elbow splint. Next one is finger splint. So, if the fractures occur in the fingers, the finger splint can be used. And the next one is ankle stirrup. So, the fracture has occurred in the ankle, and we can use the ankle stirrup. And the next one is wrist. So, if the fracture has occurred in the wrist area, and we can use the wrist splint. And the next one is nasal splint. So, if the fracture has occurred in the nasal region, and the splint can be used on the nose to support the nose, the nasal splint can be used. So, it is the commonly used splints. So, by using this splint, there is some of the complications can be occur. So, in the complications, it includes the ischemia. So, because ischemia means there is a decreased blood supply to the affected limb. So, because of the fracture, and if we are using the splint, and it can cause the ischemia, there is a decreased blood supply to the affected limb, and it causes the death of the cells. So, next one is heat injury. So, it is become injury because of the heat, and because of using the splint, it produces the more heat in the affected area, and it causes the injury. And next one is infection. So, continuous using of the splint, and it causes the infection. And next one is the pressure source. So, the pressure source, continuous using of the splint, it causes the pressure source like ulcers. And next one is dermatitis. So, because of using the splint, and it causes the inflammation of the skin, it is called as dermatitis. And the next one is joint stiffness. So, continuous using of the splint, it causes the stiffness of the joint. So, it is the complications by using the splint. It includes the ischemia, head injury, dermatitis, heat injury, and dermatitis, and pressure sores, and the joint stiffness. Thank you.